It's Behind the Bit.
Live from the internet, it's the BTB Internet Talk Show. Special guests, Pandemonium, Dean Martin. If you've got the internet, you get a talk show. Here's your host, Mr. BTB himself, Scott Curtis.
That little guitar strumming thing goes just a little long on that. I got to cut that a little bit. Welcome to the BTB Internet Talk Show. This is Rocktober 8th. Oh, I almost screwed up and called it wrong. It's Rocktober 8th, and it's one of those days. It's a day to have a talk show. It's the BTB Internet Talk Show, or as I like to call it, my reason to drink on Thursday. So tonight, I'm doing beer because I drank all the whiskey and I forgot to go to the liquor store today. So I'm back on the beer. My buddy Steve can't be with me today. Steve Frito can't be here today, but he's here in spirit and he's floating right above the corner of Dean Martin. So Steve actually is here. I talked to him today. We had a little video chat in which my video camera didn't work. And I don't know why, but we talked for a little bit about some stuff, getting some shows and shit together. So that's going on. This week, it's the Adam Dagey interview is out on the podcast, the Behind the Bits podcast, which is very easy to find by typing in Behind the Bits into any podcast app. And Adam Dagey has been doing comedy for about 10 years, I think, maybe 10, 12 years. And has gone through cancer and stuff like that. So it's a good story. The BTB Internet Talk Show drinking game is in full effect tonight. So drink every time I forget a word and or stammer. So that would be 2 drinks already. So drink. Drink every time Dean Martin goes out of character, and drink every time I forget a guest name or who I am. I suggest drinking a light beer or possibly apple juice. I wouldn't do the hard stuff during this show. And with that, let's get on with it. I've got guests. We've got Meike Rm. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So you've been on the show before. You kind of know how this goes. But why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from, what you're doing, and that last show you did.
My name is Meike. In South Carolina right now. Originally from Germany. Been doing comedy a little bit over a year. More seriously, actually during lockdown. Now that I had a lot of free time at home to write and actually work on my stuff. Did a comedy contest on Tuesday up in Greensboro at the Idiot Box. It was about 10 comics that participated. I did not make it into the next round, but it was still a lot of fun because everybody else was a lot longer in the whole game than I was, so it was a tough competition. Yeah. But it's some really good laughs, and it was a good time.
Cool. Well, let's bring up our next guest, who's a newbie. It's Denis Mahler.
Drink,
Deadair,
everybody.
Denis Mahler.
Drink, everybody. Deadair, Denis. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having me on the show, Scott.
Just a sec. Drink. I kind of forgot your name.
There's a crapping for drinking. I am already a fan of this show.
Yeah.
You provide.
That's all I got.
You provide the visual effects. I'll provide the audio effects. We'll meet in.
Yeah, that's great. So, Denis, can you tell me all about your radio career in about 2 minutes?
My radio career started when I was 18 years old in Montgomery County, Maryland. And then I was fired in 2018, and I am now no longer working in radio. So there it is. I'm trying to get back in. I spent the past 2 years as a freelancer doing podcast recordings for like NPR, BBC, Gimlet, Earwolf, those kinds of people and stuff. And then I took a day job in a law firm doing AV tech. And then Corona hit, and then the reason I took let's tell you this. The reason I decided to take a day job in an office and get away from the world of podcasting and radio and stuff is because I was following my dreams of being a full-time entertainer. When I went freelance, I was like, I'm going to do freelance work, and I'm going to be a full-time comedian and actor. And 2 years later, they repoed my car. So don't follow your dreams, kids. Don't follow your dreams. Because if you do, they'll just take your car away. And I was two months away from my car being my house, so I lucked out, really.
Yeah. And this is why we drink.
Yeah.
Let's
drink because I don't need to worry about a DUI anymore.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So let's bring up Dan Bublitz. How you doing, Dan?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Good. So I don't know if you know this, but you're the host of the Art of Bombing podcast.
What?
Have you been told this yet?
No, that's news to me.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I think you do it in your sleep or something.
Probably.
And you've got a big thing coming up, a recording. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm filming a dry bar comedy special next Friday in Provo, Utah. It's basically a 25-minute clean comedy special.
How's the practicing been?
Slow going.
Yeah.
Thanks, Corona.
Yeah.
This is kind of a bad time to be prepping for taping because there's not a lot of stage time anywhere. I mean, things are slowly opening up in different areas, but it's still very slow going. So
yeah. I got to tell you, as far as the podcast goes, the Art of Bombing podcast, which is very easy to find by typing the Art of Bombing into a podcast app. If you don't know how to do that, then you probably shouldn't be listening to podcasts. So, I did steal one of your guests after listening because I listen to your podcast. I stole Justin Foster.
I saw that. I was like, he's poaching my podcast.
Yeah, I mean, you already talked to him, so there was more I wanted to know. So I called him and said, "Hey." Actually, I think I messaged him and said, "Hey." Mm-hmm. And he was on the Plano Fest with Denis and I and Corwin, who's supposed to be here, put it on, but he's in Oklahoma right now driving. Next, we got Chris Wright, the second place winner of the first annual BTB virtual comedy contest, and everybody's from the United States here except for Chris. You're in Glasgow. How's things there?
Yeah, not too bad. It's a bit rainy, but it's kind of what we're used to, so I'm quite happy.
And it is now 1:08 a.m. for you?
Yep, almost 10 past 1 in the morning. It's still quite early, though.
He
Jesus.
never sleeps.
That's dedication.
Do you like sleep during the day or what?
Yeah, I try to. Yeah.
Dude, I will tell you, I don't want to interrupt you, Scott, but the best cheeseburger I have ever had was in Glasgow. It was at the time, I don't know if it's still around, a place called the Carbaith Inn, just outside of Glasgow. It was made of sheep meat, best meat I ever had.
Yeah, the Carbaith Inn, that's quite a popular place.
Is it? Oh, good.
Well, that's great. And please interrupt me tonight because I don't know how much I got as far as the ability to keep going tonight. So just talk amongst yourselves if I nod off or something. Yeah, that's it. So I do want to talk about, I didn't want to talk about the coronavirus, but we've got something silly going on here in Indiana in that we're a lot of anti-maskers and we're not really enforcing anything properly. So Illinois has recommended that they don't let anybody from Indiana into their state. And I'm foreseeing a wall. I think maybe we're going to get a wall between Illinois and Indiana, and you guys aren't going to be able to get on 80-90 anymore when you're going cross country.
It's a good thing I'm not going east.
You could just do it like they do it down here. I mean, where everything has to shut down at 10 p.m. because apparently the virus doesn't come out until after 10 p.m.
The virus is vampiric and
It's Well, down in the Carolinas, at least, it's nocturnal.
Yeah, I was just when I read that, I was just floored. And it just doesn't surprise me because I mean, I am totally surrounded by idiots in my neighborhood, and it's crazy. We are
in Boston. It's been in my neighborhood where I live in Boston. I live right near Boston University in a neighborhood called Allston, Allston, and it's been nonstop partying from college co-eds since March. Like I walk out of my door and it just jerk off co-eds just partying all over the streets. It is. I'm surprised there's not a cloud of coronavirus covering my entire building. It's terrifying. This is how much party central it is. When I take my dog for a walk, I pass by 6 outdoor beer pong tables a night. One dog walk, and there's just 6 feet. And by the way, they're not. I just want to let you know. Apparently, there's been a change in the Beirut beer pong style game. You no longer throw it at the cups. Apparently, you now have to throw it straight in the air and wait for it to fall down, like playing some fucked up William Tell game. So it's my neighborhood is an absolute and total nightmare. So
yeah.
I get it.
That's crazy. Denis, I mean, as long as you've been in the industry, can you do you have any celebrity stories that you could share? You don't have to say names, but if you want to say names, I'm cool with that. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
I have a bunch of good ones. I will tell you this one, and I will use names because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
This is a non-related, non-radio related celebrity story. It's still good. All right, so there is a bar there's a bar back in Baltimore that I'm friends with. Everybody works there, the owners and everything. It's right down the street from where I live. It's called the Blarney Stone Pub, 704 South Broadway Street. And every time I mention their bar on like some like on stage or on a show, something they have a tally and give me free beers. So
all right, well,
Blarney Stone Pub at 704 South Broadway, Most Point, Maryland. And one of the guys that worked there, his name is Chris, and his fiance, he was getting married, and his fiance was roommates with the woman who plays the waitress on Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And if you don't know, she is in a relationship, and I'm pretty sure they're married now, to Charlie Day.
Yeah. So
she was one of the maids of honor because she is, one of the bride's best friends from college, roommate, stuff like that. So the night before the wedding, they go out, they do the rehearsal dinner, they come back to the bar, the whole wedding party and everybody. And I'm hanging out just drinking there because it's a day that ends in Y, so that's why I'm there.
Yeah.
The entire wedding party comes in. Charlie Day comes in. Him and I argue on who is going to buy who a beer because apparently I was an idiot that waited tables and thinks that I owe Charlie Day, who makes $100,000 a year on a TV show that I love, I owe him a beer. Like, I'm taking pity on this man who has a TV show, like buying him a beer because I'm that big of a fan. No. So yeah, that happened, and so throughout the night, I'm talking to one of the other young ladies that's in the wedding party, and she looks at me and is like, "Hey man, do you think you can get us some weed?" And I'm like, "You know what? It's not my bag, it's not my thing. Sorry." But I am a connected man, and I'm also I'm like the Kevin Bacon of Baltimore, and I'm also a horny 20-something. So I decided to go out and try and find her weed because I was like, how hard could it be to find weed? Yeah. I go to another bar, talk to a couple friends. I find out the whole neighborhood's dry. They're like, the neighborhood's dry, but go try Dave over at such and such other bar. They don't give me free beer, so I don't mention their bar. But so I go over there, I talk to Dave. Now to describe what Dave looked like real quick, he looks like if Slash from Guns N' Roses fucked Slash from Guns N' Roses. Like hair, denim, and a top hat. Like wonderful, nice guy, but he is the neighborhood drug dealer, and he's a swell guy. So, but here's the thing about him: he's so burned out that every time you meet him, you can tell he doesn't know who you are, but he's so used to it that he does a great job of faking it. So,
oh yeah.
I'm like, hey, can you get me some weed? And he's like, hold on, dude. I'll be right back real quick. And he goes around the room, talks to a bunch of people, and comes back and goes, all right, man, how much do you want? I'm like, I don't know, $20 worth, whatever. I don't know what weed increments are sold in. And then he goes, all right, cool. And he goes bouncing around the room again, talking to a bunch of people, come back. We do the really super cool drug handshake trade-off. I'm like super happy with myself. Like I palmed it, did it. This is my first time doing drug deals, which is also a lie because I also bought weed for the drummer from the Misfits, Dr. Chud. Anyway, so story for a different time because he had story for another time. Anyway, so I go back to the bar. I go up to the young lady who I was talking up and chatting. She's like, "Oh my God, I thought you totally ditched me. Where have you been? Been gone for like an hour." I'm like, "Well, I felt bad saying I didn't know where to get you weed, but I did." And I reached in my pocket. And I was like, "Here you go." And I opened my hand, and in my hand is $20 worth of cocaine.
Oh, wrong drug.
Oh no.
And she looks at me and goes, "Thanks, but no." I was like, "No, this was not what I'll be right back." So now I run back over to the bar to find Dave, and I've only been gone 5 minutes. And again, looks at me without knowing who I am, but does a great job of pretending. Like, "Hey!" I'm like, "Hey, Dave, real quick. I was looking for weed, dude." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "I was looking for weed, marijuana." He's like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Fucking pot, dude." He's like, "Oh, dude." Bounces around the room, comes like, "Yeah, dude, neighborhood's dry. Sorry." I was like, "All right, look, I don't want to be the asshole who asks for a refund on this drug trade, but can I get a refund?" I don't want. He's like, "Oh yeah, dude." Again, smooth transition into the drug handshake, trading it back. I'm like, here's a see you later. I go back to the bar. Bar's closing. And I'm like, I talk to the young lady. He's like, "Yeah, sorry, neighborhood's dry." And that's when Charlie Day pops over his shoulder. He's like, "So what's up? Is this dude going to get us some weed or what?" And I'm like, "No, Charlie Day, I'm not. I'm sorry." The neighborhood's dry, Charlie Day. I'm sorry.
That's a good story.
Thank you.
How can a neighborhood really be dry on weed, though?
I mean, well, this was long before it was. I mean, this was my late 20s.
Yeah.
So we're talking. I'm 39. Nobody knows how old I am. That was like 13 years ago. So it was hard. Drugs were still illegal then. Like now, I just add marijuana to my shopping list and they deliver it. So
yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So Micah, you posted on social media that you had a reel that you did on Instagram that got like 2,000 views. So I'm 56 years old and I don't understand a lot of this stuff. So I got on Instagram and I started poking around until I found reels. And by the time I was done, I thought I was cheating on my wife because it's all softcore porn. I mean, it's just women dancing around and stuff like that. Yours was not. Yours was a joke and it was funny. But so I actually decided to fight against reels today by doing my own when I finally found the button to do it. So I actually did a reel of my own, and I think it's maybe gotten 3 or 4 views. So I'm pretty proud of that.
It takes a day or two to kick off, but then it kind of like on mine, it's pretty much TikTok for Instagram. You just make shorter videos, or people just post down like TikToks on there. But I use it just to have short snippets of my jokes, maybe some that get good laughs, just to have a bigger reach. Because usually if you just post videos, just your followers see it. But if you do the reel, the whole world sees it, and then it might give you a little bit of reach, a couple of new followers, because you never know who's watching. It might be somebody.
But reels are 98% of just showing
girls
as much as you can on Instagram.
That's pretty much what TikTok is, though, too. So,
I
mean, if they're going to copy TikTok, it just as well copy it all. Yeah,
I've never tried it.
TikTok is mostly just girls dancing around and animals. That's pretty much it. And then there's comedians that try to throw in stand-up comedy in the mix, too.
So it's basically just the internet, really, is what it is. It's porn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just another access to the
porn
internet.
Porn animals and
touche.
So let's talk about this contest a little bit more in depth, Micah. So how many minutes did you have to do?
5.
5?
Yeah, it's 5 in the first round, and then if you advance, I think the next round is 7, and then I don't know what the final. I think the final might be 10 minutes.
Yeah. And was this judged or was it audience judged?
It was judged by the audience, which is good and bad, because I feel like I had 2 people that I knew of, Chris and PJ were watching. So I don't know if anybody else I know was watching. So even if my set was good, I probably would have lost compared to people that had 20 friends watching.
Yeah.
So it was. I mean, I would have preferred having actual judges that like judge you based off laughs per minute or whatever techniques used,
Yeah.
compared to just like audience where it's pretty much like even if you're bad, you still win if you have enough good friends that vote for you. So
Yeah. I did one right before the pandemic, and there was two winners. There was an audience vote and a judge vote, and I lost both. So it was great.
yeah, I didn't make it to the next round, but
But I'm using that tape. I'm using that video for all my submissions, and nobody said no yet. So I killed. I was glad I bought the tape. Chris, you second place winner of the Behind the Bits comedy contest. I'm always amazed whenever I hear you rattle off 5 one-liners in less than a minute, and you still got another 6 minutes left in you. Tell me how you felt the Behind the Bits podcast. What is it? Comedy contest. How do you feel that helped you as a comic?
Oh, greatly. Like just seeing all the other like different experiences, all the different comics as well. Like I always try and learn as much as I can. So, and it's the first time I'd ever done a 7-minute set as well. So it's kind of pushed me that little bit further. So, but I really enjoyed the whole experience, and finishing second, I just didn't pay enough to the judges to finish first, but it was close enough.
Yeah. I mean, you could have slipped me a few bucks. That way I could turn around and pay it back to you. But anywho, that hour of comedy, I still say is one of the best hours I've seen of virtual comedy since it's been going, because everybody just killed that night. It was a very good night.
I agree. It's the best night of comedy I've seen online as well. Like just so many talented folk, even in the preliminary rounds, I should say.
Yeah.
Even the talent there was great. So all the way through, it was really good comics.
Yeah. I got to tell you, this is the first time I've ever taken submissions for a comedy contest, and I don't claim to be any kind of a great comic by any means. I'm still an absolute beginner. However, I do know what's funny and what's not, and I got a lot of not funny stuff, and I also got a few fuck yous from people who I rejected. And the funny thing is one guy I rejected is a friend of somebody I let through, who almost won his round, and apparently he's a pretty good comic wherever he is, but the tape he sent me just sucked, and I didn't even see where a laugh could have been inserted into any of that 5 minutes. It was awful.
You should try running a comedy festival. You'll see some interesting emails.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I've definitely been on the receiving end of some nasty grams.
Yeah. And I really don't care. I mean,
my messages, Dan. So
I mean, they can hate me if they want, but if they're not funny, they're not funny. So
yeah. But that's the thing. A lot of comics forget about. And it works the other way. I mean, you can be a really good comic and have a really terrible video, or you can be a really terrible comic with a really good video. And I've seen that happen, at comedy festivals where somebody submitted a video and it was fantastic and they got into the festival, and then they came and performed at the festival and they were not that great compared to the video that they sent. So, I mean, it really... when it comes to submitting for anything, whether it's a contest or a festival, anything that requires a video, it really does matter how good your video is. That you have to put effort into getting a good video.
And when you're evaluating the video, you can't really count on the audience laughter. You have to find your own funny in it, because if they're on their home court and they've got 30 friends in the audience, and of course there's going to be a lot of laughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah,
the one
absolutely.
dude I'm talking about had a lot of laughter, but it wasn't funny. I mean, it was just all rehashed stuff that I've heard 100 times before, just with a few different words. So it wasn't good.
I mean, that brings up. I've always wondered, and Dan, we did a thing together where we talked about. We did a Zoom where we talked about contests and stuff like that. But I don't think I ever asked is what for watching submission videos. And Scott, weigh in because you just had to watch a bunch of submission videos. Are you listening to the material and judging it for yourself, or are you judging the laughs in the room, or how do you go about deciding wwhether this is a good tape?
For me, there's a lot of factors. I mean, the quality is important. You know, I like to be able to see the comedian. I like to be able to hear the comedian. You know, and that goes to like, you know, one time somebody got mad that they didn't get in a festival, and they called me out on it. And you know, I told them, hey, your video wasn't that great, and I gave them reasons. One of the reasons is the camera was super far away, and they were wearing the same color T-shirt as the background, so it just kind of looked like a floating head, but you couldn't really see like facial reactions. So that, you know, that takes in account. And the camera was so far back that he had good laughter, but you couldn't hear his jokes because the laughter was overbearing his jokes, you know. You couldn't hear the jokes he was telling, so it was hard to decipher his material. But then I also, you know, you look at the material, how original it is, you know, originality, look at their stage presence, and combine that with audience reaction. So like when I review videos for a festival, I'm looking at all sorts of different things, you know, as a combined thing. It's kind of an accumulative situation.
So
on my side, so this was my first time through, but the thing that I was looking for, first off, I know what I laugh at and what I think is funny, but I can also appreciate what other people laugh at. Like Larry the Cable Guy doesn't make me laugh at all. That type of humor doesn't work for me. But if somebody does that well, that type of humor well, then I'm cool with it. So it's got to be something. And you know, if I see stuff that I've seen other comics do, or it's just an old premise or something like that, then I'm not really digging it. If they have no stage presence at all, I'm not digging it, because I mean, if you can't do it on a stage with live people, you're not going to be able to do it virtual at all. So that's really all I was looking for. And I wasn't judging people if I didn't think they were my type of comic, but I mean, there was a few that went through that just weren't my type of comic, but they were funny enough that I know somebody else would like them. So that's what I look for.
That's interesting, because I always wonder if people are watching it, like, because there's plenty of times where I watch somebody who's murdering in their video, and I'm just like, I don't find any of this funny.
Same, yeah.
So definitely.
I don't know if I'd like, if me personally, like, well, if all the people in this video liked them, I guess I should pass them.
Yeah, but see, that's why it's important, at least with, and every comedy festival is different in how they run it. And every comedy festival that I've been involved with, we've had a committee watch the videos and basically do a score. And that's, you know, because that way you have different, because comedy is subjective, and what I might think is funny, somebody else isn't, and vice versa. So it's important to have different viewpoints and you know, people to watch this, because if I had to go through and decide who was getting in and who wasn't based on what I liked, it kind of makes it doesn't make a great festival. It just becomes my festival, you know. I mean, and I can,
when there's like a community of people who are basically like, all right, you take these 20, you take these 20, you take these 20, and give us your best 5.
Yeah,
your favorite 5. I didn't realize everybody watches the same videos.
Oh, and some festivals might work like that. I just know all the festivals I've been involved with, the committee watches all the videos, and they weigh in input on all of them. Usually, like I said, we do a score, and the people that have the highest scores, you know, the cumulative score, the ones that end up getting into the festival.
Fascinating.
So I did a thing last year. I know a guy that owns more music venue, and he was letting me do comedy shows there. So I did a thing because I wanted my local comics to have professional video. So I hired a professional videographer, charged $5 a head, and had an audience come in, and I gave every comic 10 minutes for a showcase, and a lot of the comics didn't like their videos because what happened was there was a lady and a guy having a very animated conversation right by where the guy was standing, so he had to mute the laughter because he had to mute them because they were talking over the comics. And I don't know why the dude didn't move, just didn't find a different spot or tell me so I could tell him to be quiet. But it just didn't turn out as well as I wanted. And I don't know if anybody's using that video. And I looked at my set. I hated my set from that night. And I know at least one other guy hated it. So I don't know who's using it. But it was something I tried to do for the comedy community, and it just totally fell flat.
Yeah. Well, and it's important, to have, ideally, if you can do a full production, it helps, but, having your audio recorded separately from the soundboard is important than the video, because you end up with stuff like that. You never know what's going to happen. And if you have a video where there's people talking loudly, it distracts from your material and your jokes in the video. So if you then take that video and submit it, you're probably not getting in because the person watching it's concentrating on whatever's going on at this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So another subject. Did you guys watch the debate last night?
Hey, Chris, did you watch the debates last night?
I didn't. Although I did watch the presidential debate, but I didn't watch it last night.
Do they carry that, or did you watch it online, or do they carry that some way? Is it like, here, let's perversely look at the dumpster fire that is the president?
Oh, I'm sure the BBC puts it out.
Yeah, BBC, I think we're showing it, but I ended up watching it on YouTube, just a live stream, so it was quite fun.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I wouldn't even know how to begin to watch parliamental. If Parliament was having a meeting about something, I wouldn't even know how to find it.
It's actually pretty cool because they do shit. They
dress up, they have costumes.
Yeah, but they get into fights and stuff. They are brawlers. If somebody's on the opposite side of something and somebody says, they'll go at each other. And I think that's great because I think in America, our politicians should fight each other more. And maybe we'd lose a few.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe they should just have a death match.
Yeah.
And who fights to the death, and whoever wins is the president. That's one way to do it.
So I got through half the debate, and then my wife said no more, and I said, okay, Schitt's Creek. So we turned on Schitt's Creek and watched a couple episodes. So, yeah.
That's a good alternative.
Yeah.
Oh, no, did we lose Micah?
Just for a second. She'll be right back.
Yep,
there she
Oh,
is.
while we're waiting for Micah to come back, shout out to Grant Carlisle in the comments there. Thanks a lot for watching the show tonight.
Yeah.
Grant's
a local boy. Grant loves roast battles, and Denis and I were in a roast battle. It was my first roast battle, and I thought Denis did quite good at his. I sucked air on mine because I've never done a roast battle, and I got the timing wrong, and I started drinking too early, and.
I blame most of my bad comedy on drinking too.
Yeah, I was totally
on my mum drinking.
I was totally in the bag, but I made a really cool backdrop because I've got a green screen and everything. So I made a really cool.
Oh no!
Backdrop.
Did we lose Scott too?
Yeah. And I put boxing gloves on, and then my battle came up, and I called the person who I was roast battling by the wrong name because I forgot her name, and then I misunderstood the rules.
Though. If you could have like switched that around to like made it look like you did that on purpose, like that's a great diss pretending to not know who they are.
Yeah, well, it was. I had to get right up next to the monitor to see who they were, so I got out of camera just to look at the monitor. And I'm like, "Oh no, your name's Kate, and you look really nice." I mean, there wasn't anything I could say, so I actually got kind of shitty, and I lost that one big. I think I had like 11% of the vote on that one. So.
I also had 12% vote, so maybe you shouldn't have toted me up as big. No, the roast battle. Well, here's my problem with the roast battle, and I had fun, and that's what we're there for, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
fun. But here's my problem with the roast battle, and I brought it up with them about it because I'm the outsider. I'm the guy from Boston. A lot of the comedians are from Texas or from the closer area. I mean, there's like Seattle and other, but like I really felt like an outsider, and I really was uncomfortable with it because my opinion on roast battles is you only roast the ones you love. Right?
Yeah.
So roasting strangers who, like, if I had gone to Plano and was hanging out for the weekend, I may have been more eager to do it because I'm meeting people, we're getting each other, we have a rapport, I can make jokes that way. Just like trying to like do Facebook stalking research for roast battle jokes on people who don't know.
Yeah.
Literally, I spent 2 days just going through people's Facebook and YouTubes and stuff to try and find stuff about them that I can relate, other than official like, she looks like a whore, like whatever. My first 3 competitors were all women, and I am a cis white bald male. I literally look like the reason for everyone's problems. I get it. But there's no roasting that I'm going to be able to do that's going to make me come out looking like roses, okay? So. And it doesn't matter how funny it is. It just looks like I'm verbally abusing my girlfriends. That's basically what I was going to look like. But here's the thing: I went through all of their Facebooks and all their Facebook, and this is not a diss to any of them. It's all just political talk, memes, and promoting shows. And it's like, how am I supposed to know who they are? How am I supposed to get a sense of who they are?
Yeah.
When because they're not putting out. And again, I don't put out anything that's personal or relative either. So I mean. Like one of the jokes that they said against me is like, "Hey, I love how you post a lot of pictures of your girlfriend on Instagram." And by your girlfriend, I mean your dog. Like, so basically, you looked at my Instagram. Okay, cool. That's as far as your research went, is like, well, he has a dog. I guess he's an incel. Like that's basically. I'm sure they had a hard time too, trying to find out like something really relative about me that would resonate, and it just, my only problem is I don't feel like that's a great. That's necessarily going to be a great product for the audience. Yeah. However, everyone had fun. We all had a good time. So apparently I'm wrong. But
how did that go? The virtual comedy festival. I'm curious about that.
Right.
As somebody that produces festivals, I'm curious about the virtual aspect. Like, because I've seen more and more festivals doing that, and I'm curious, how did it go? Was there actually people watching other than the other comics in the room? Like
every show I watched had between 30 and 60 people.
Wow. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Micah bought a ticket for my show. Yeah, so I watched so that was nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I watched a couple.
You and my wife. That's it.
And there was, I think Roast Battle was all comedians, but I had 40 some audience members on it. This is how good it is. Let me put it this way, Dan. My set was so good on Zoom that I would almost consider using it as an audition.
That's awesome. That's good. I'm glad that it worked.
I feel like mine hit, and I actually, Micah, I mean, be honest. Did you feel like mine was okay? You were there.
I think it was good. It was really good. I liked it.
Yeah. And I put new jokes in that I've never done live before. So, I didn't take it that seriously. And I felt like it went good enough. So I did, Wes is going to chop that up, I guess. Wes and Tim and what's the other one?
Brittany.
Yeah, is going to chop that up and give us videos. And I'm not in any hurry for it, but I thought it was okay for a virtual performance.
Yeah, I mean, I did the Burbank. So this year, I got accepted into 5 comedy festivals. 2 canceled, 3 are have gone virtual, and I still have 1 more coming up to do. And I will say, out of the 2 that I did, 1 was the Burbank Comedy Festival, and the other was Plano. And I think Plano, for me, was so much better than Burbank. And I enjoyed the Burbank, but shows were hit or miss. Attendance was hit or miss.
Yeah.
That was what the disappointing thing is. I think they gave us all. Yeah, they gave us all 3 shows, and none of my 3 shows were attended well. But the other shows I went to, there was like 200 people in one of the shows on Zoom for the Burbank. So, I mean, it's only going to go as good as the audience. So
yeah, and that only goes as good as it's promoted too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it falls back on the festival and their marketing.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah. I mean, I think I don't know, Chris. Right, you just did a contest virtually. How do you? I feel like we're leaving Chris out of the conversation. We're talking about American politics, and I'm controlling everything. In fact, I'm going to go on mute. Chris, right? Take it away. By the way, I kicked the other white man and not the woman on the panel who also hasn't done.
Mike is, by the way, he's not bald, so I feel like the majority for the first time in my life having no hair. It's great.
No, you want hair, you did. I got enough on it.
Yeah, you do.
But no, I agree with you guys. Like, I think it all depends on the audience and who's actually partaking in it. But I had a good experience because I haven't done any live shows like in person. It's only virtual I've done because I only started in May. So
oh my god,
I don't really have anything to compare it to. But I had a good experience when I was doing it. I took part in Uncle Clyde's comedy festival, comedy contest last night for Flappers as well. So again, it was a pretty good experience.
And he slayed, Dan. I'm not just saying that. He absolutely slayed. And
I believe you. I'm just like, the whole idea of starting stand-up comedy during the pandemic just blows my mind.
Well, here's the deal.
Like, you got to be brave to do it like in person, but like virtually just...
Yeah. Can I add an amendment to that? When he said brave, I think he meant foolish. So...
But the thing is these guys doing it virtual, they can do it 5 times a day if they want, because there's stuff going 24/7. So they are getting like a crash course. And so here's a conversation that's going on in some of the comedy communities, because there's a clash. There's people that say virtual comedy, that's bullshit, and it's not real, and you're not doing it right. And then there's people who say, well, we got to do virtual comedy, and this is what's available to us. I don't feel comfortable going in a room, blah blah blah. So they're fighting back and forth, and I'm watching it. And I haven't participated as much because I was doing the contests and stuff like that, but I was watching it, and from what I saw, there was, I mean, in my group, the 6 finalists of the BTB contest were 3 people who were seasoned comics that had been in it at least 5 years. One guy was 10, and then there was 3 almost absolute newbies. 2 of them started at the beginning of the year and 1 of them late last year. So, I mean, it was right up the middle. And so you got Chris, was the newest of the newbies. He got 2nd place. And then Justin Mattson won 1st place, and he's the 10-year guy. And then 3rd place is, Laura Park, who is just getting back into comedy after being off for 8 years. So it was really a cool thing to see. And people who are dissing the virtual stuff, I think elements of this is going to stay.
Do you think? I got a question for you before you get too deep into that, just because you already unpack. Let's unpack some of this. Yeah. Now, with people that are starting during the pandemic and just doing virtual shows, like, yes, I can see where by doing a bunch of shows every day, you get better, but you get better for that format. Now, How do you think some of these guys that do people will do when they have to go do a live show? Because virtual comedy it's not the same as live comedy. It's definitely different. It's there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a difference in between performing virtually and a live audience. And when you start doing it just virtually, there's a way to get good at just virtual comedy.
Right.
If you know what I mean, or
Exactly.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that some of these guys that are doing really good virtually are going to do when they go to their first show?
And I actually wrote a blog article about it, and I think some of them are going to sink and some of them are going to swim because
nice plug.
Yeah. Behind the bits. But thanks for setting me up.
Superb marketing.
Yeah. But I really feel like first off, I think that first time out that they go do an open mic or something like that, I think for 90% of them it's going to suck because they don't know what the cues are. They're going to go too slow on their jokes because in virtual comedy you're kind of waiting for the lag. You're waiting for people to respond, and the response is way quicker in a live audience, either good or bad. So I think it's the first time that hits somebody, it's gonna just totally mess up their rhythm and screw them up. But I think if they stick with it, so the writing is 50%, I'd say. Would you agree with that? Writing's 50% and the other 50% is performing?
Oh, definitely. You definitely have to write. I mean, it's not just writing, it's also polishing and, performing and polishing the material, which editing, I guess, would be what I would call it. It'd be editing.
And I think if you've got a strong written set and you totally suck air when you get on stage the first time, if you don't totally go into a hole and die about it and you go out the next time and you've got a thick enough skin, then you'll be fine. And young people like Chris, and I'm talking to you, young people like you might go out there and just cry yourself to sleep when you're done, and say, I'm never going to do comedy again. And I think that would be an injustice to comedy because you are a fantastic writer. So the performance part is obviously something that you're going to have to work on the live part, because you're used to sitting in a chair and doing it. But as far as the writing part, you've got that. I mean, your barrage of one-liners just kills me. And I'm not a one-liner type of guy, but yours are just good. So, and that's going to keep growing for you. So, like I said, I think some people are going to sink and some people are going to swim.
Well, I think that's true with any people that start stand-up in general, because the key to this business is really persistence. Like if you can, everyone's bombed, and those who can get back up and continue to keep doing it after bombing are the ones who eventually, in theory, get good at it. However, there are some people where they're just totally self-unaware and unaware.
Oblivious.
It plays a dick every night. Like, oh man, I killed it. It's like, no, you didn't. It was silent. How did you not? Did you not have ears? How did you not? Anyway, but I think to say that because they started on Zoom, going to stage, I don't think it's going to be any harder than it had they started on stage. I think, and that comes down to individuals. Because this being successful in Zoom comedy could give you an ego that gets crushed the first time you bomb on stage.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think
getting to the person themselves than it would be to the format.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think virtual comedy is going to go away. Even if live comedy comes back full time, this is a new thing that's still going to be there. I mean, who wouldn't want to not travel and make some money? Like I did a virtual corporate gig last week. And the performance was, and a lot of it was because most of the people were muted, so there wasn't a lot of laughter, so you couldn't tell if people were laughing. And the timing is huge. You have that lag, like you said. So like I would wait, and there would be no laughter, and I'm like, well, next joke, and then all of a sudden they start laughing, and so there's those little things like that you definitely have to get used to. But I made decent money doing this gig, and all I had to do was come upstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of the virtual comedy. I enjoy doing it. I prefer live instead. I'll fight anyone. I'll fist fight anyone who says this is not real comedy, because you're right.
Yeah.
It's not real stand up, but it's just different. And if you refuse to adapt to it, that's your problem, not the medium's problem. But
it's a different medium of comedy.
But I think once we get back to the world once it was pre-COVID, I think this will all go away. Everyone now thinks, I'm told this is what I'm going to do. Because, dude, it is so appealing to be able to for me to come down here in my basement, do comedy, and go upstairs and feel fulfilled and go to sleep happy and not crying myself to bed. You know, like there is that great time. But I think
comedy clubs.
Once the world opens back up, who's gonna not want to go out and socialize? How many
people
places
that don't like going to clubs? I mean, a lot of comedy clubs are going to capitalize on this. They already are. They're doing live shows with limited capacities, but they're also selling tickets virtually and doing the show through Zoom and stuff. And they're gonna continue to do that because this is the other great thing about this format is that if you have a comedian and you only have 100 seats in your club, and that comedian sells it out instantly. Now you can open up virtual tickets at a discounted price and sell even more tickets to this show.
I'm saying what's not going to stick around is the virtual performing. Like the place that the corporate gig you just did, if they could have you in the building safely, do you think they would don't you think they would think they're getting more of their money's worth to have you there than to pay you to sit at home
maybe because they can pay me less to sit at home. It's still decent, but it's not as much because now if they would have had to bring me out there, now they're looking at they would have had to pay for my airfare. They would have had to pay for my lodging. I would have had, expenses for food and all that kind of stuff. So now my rates are way, way, way higher as opposed to, we don't have to pay for travel. We don't have to pay for lodging. We don't have to pay for these expenses. We can just basically pay you to perform. So,
I'm going to come around on the corner on this. So, maybe you're right, because there are things that were around before this, like Stage It, where people were doing, virtual shows from their homes with their audience through different mediums and platforms. So, maybe you're right, but I just find it hard that there's going to still be people doing this once we have the ability to go back out into the world. But
I think two things are
being wrong.
Yeah, I think two things are a slam dunk. First off, the open mics are going to continue because people enjoy doing the virtual open mics. Second, the big name comics, like a Seinfeld or somebody like that, so they can sell out theater for, like you said, $80, $100 a ticket, or they can sell the theater and sell the virtual for $40 a ticket and sell another 100,000 tickets. They're definitely going to do it. So
not to be the one that keeps jumping in, but I mean, the comedians already had things in their writers about not being able to record and replay the shows anyway. So don't you think, I keep thinking that if we can fill a theater with people, won't selling it virtually won't people worry that it's going to cut into their live ticket sales? I understand it's another bit of money and you're enlarging the audience, but if audiences could just sit at home and watch the shows, why pay the extra money to go out to the show, pay for parking, have to deal with all that?
Well, because I don't think that'll be an option until it sells out. It's like, and I'm not talking about theaters. I don't think if comedians who are doing theaters, I don't think they're going to be, if they can sell a 5,000 seat theater out, they're not going to be adding virtual tickets, because to do a virtual show, even with that, to broadcast it, now that's a bigger budget because they need way more camera equipment for that and sound equipment and staff for that. But in a comedy club, when you only have 100 to 200 seats, you can easily put some stationary cameras, and it becomes a one person job to basically run that stream. You could easily, I really feel like it'll, once they sell out, then they can open that up, and then it's going to give them more revenue to the club.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. Like with theaters, I don't think that's going to be the case.
I mean, I don't know. I look at like audio podcasts to video podcasts. Like, if you're putting your podcast video on YouTube, are you cutting into your listenership? You know, are there people who are like, oh, I can watch it now and just, you know, I don't know.
Well, and that's something to think about though, because I think about that with my podcast. In fact, I don't put video, you know, of my podcast up. I did a few episodes, and now I do audio. The audio goes to YouTube too, but I do the video now. I'm going to start using it more for promotion to drive people to the audio. But yeah, because I think about that, whether or not it'll interfere with that.
I just do my teaser. I do my rapid round, and that's been working fairly well. That way I can actually, because when you're on video, I don't think that you get the conversation as well because you're always worried about who's watching and what you look like. So, you know, I do like 15 minutes of rapid round, then I go off and then finish it. And that's been good enough for a teaser that's given some episodes a pretty good jump. So that's pretty cool. I hate to break into this, but Dean Martin's hanging out, and he's been pacing, and he's mad that I haven't brought him out yet. So just real quick, we got to bring Dino out.
Yeah, just give him a kick in the head.
Ain't that a kick in the head? Hey, everybody, it's me, Dean Martin.
Hey.
Boy, Scott really pushed me out of the whole show this time, that son of a bitch. So we're going to turn the tables here. Instead of me asking you guys questions, it's me, Dean Martin. I kind of got out of character there, so drink. But first off, I want to say, hey, Steve, I miss you, buddy. I hope you're watching. I hope somebody's watching. I know you're going to watch your replay. Love you, man. It's me, Dean Martin. And instead of me asking you questions, I'm Dean Martin. What would you ask Dean Martin? Anybody? Shoot.
How big was Jerry Lee Lewis's cock?
Jerry Lee Lewis?
Or Jerry Lewis? Yeah, no, Jerry Lee Lewis. I want to know, how long was Jerry Lee Lewis's Great Balls of Fire?
Great balls of fire, baby. It was, as far as I know, he was very private about that stuff. It's me, Dean Martin. How you doing?
All right, Dean. What do you think of virtual comedy?
It was very small. Say, what do I think of virtual comedy? I think this shit that Scott's doing is stupid, but you know, he's given me a room and board. In case you don't know it, they said I died in 1995 of lung cancer, and that's bullshit. I was frozen, but when they unfroze me, all my money was gone. So I'm just looking for a place to stay. I ended up in Mishawaka, Indiana. Scott took me in, and the son of a bitch has no meat in his house. I mean, the guy doesn't ever have any meat, and I'm eating lettuce and cauliflower all the time. I appreciate him, but he's a stupid son of a bitch for not having any meat.
Sounds like my house.
Maybe you didn't have any money because it burnt a hole in your pocket.
Yeah. You know what? Those puns are starting to piss me off, buddy.
So what's it like having Scott as a roommate?
Having Scott as a roommate? You know, he's really a pretty boring guy. The thing I don't... I kind of got out of character there. So. The thing I really don't like about him is he gets a bottle of booze and he drinks it down till there's like one serving left, and then he just leaves it and then buys a new bottle. So he's got all these bottles of booze with one serving, and I'm afraid to drink out of them because of the COVID. It's me, Dean Martin. I'm afraid to drink out of them, and yet there they are, and then he keeps buying new stuff, and it's cluttering up the liquor area. That's what bothers me about Scott. It's me, Dean Martin.
Who would win in a fight, Joey Bishop or Carl Perkins?
Well, I got to tell you, Dennis, Carl Perkins had a pretty mean right hook, but
Country music boys, they gonna win every time.
the thing is Joey.
I don't know what this character is. I don't know.
Joey Bishop was kind of a Leon Spinks, and that he could take a lot of punches because Frank used to just wail on that son of a bitch. So, I think he could rope-a-dope him.
Just wear him out. Okay. So what you're saying is Joey Bishop's going to wear Carl Perkins out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you had to do a roast battle against Jerry Lewis, who do you think would win?
Me against Jerry Lewis? Oh, I would most definitely win that. It's me, Dean Martin, by the way. I would slay Jerry Lewis because all he's got is, hey, lady. I mean, that, and he was in King of Comedy. That's all he's got. I was Matt Helm, Ocean's 11. I was Frank's favorite. So I could definitely take him down.
What would be your best roast joke?
Hey, Jerry, why'd you get so fat?
If you could impregnate any one of the Brat Pack members, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
By the way, goodbye, Chris Wright.
I got.
Sorry you felt left out.
Did
You
you
got your
run
fucking
Chris off?
browser up and everything. Actually, I guess I can say it now because they're all dead. Except for Nancy. I had a thing for Nancy Sinatra.
Oh, I was in the 80s Brat Pack.
Oh, man.
Not the Rat Pack, the Brat Pack.
I just want to keep crossing genres with you. You have Alan Sheen, you have Judd Nelson, you have Anthony. That's not Anthony Michael Hall. What is his name? Anthony, the other guy from Weekend at Bernie's. That's not Silverman.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. Emilio Estevez is the correct answer. All right.
Now, honestly, I would have really liked to not do, but hang out with like a James Spader. A young James Spader would have been fun.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, Rob Lowe, we've seen the video. It's intimidating. I get it. So
Yeah.
we've seen his sex tape. It's very intimidating.
And yet he's so thin, so very thin. That son of a bitch.
Can I keep derailing this conversation with sexual innuendos? I should have laughed and Chris Wright should have taken my place.
Chris's internet must have crapped out on him.
Or like, I don't want to listen to Dennis ask any more questions about esoteric popular American cinema figures.
Yeah, he probably got bored, and he was probably bored and ready for bed. He was like, "I'm out."
Hey,
It is
ask,
like 2 a.m. there. 3
Yeah, I was
in the
going to
morning.
say, it is.
ask me about Star Wars. Somebody asked me about Star Wars.
Hey, Dean
I
Martin,
haven't
what do you think about Star Wars?
Star Wars was the worst set of movies ever put out by man. I'm Dean Martin.
I agree.
Hot takes.
I agree.
Yeah, it was bad stuff. I mean, I went to see the original in 1977. I'm just like, hey, that's bad acting.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like I need to leave, Chris. I'm sorry. I was worried that my esoteric celebrity gossip made you like, fuck this. Click.
Need to work on that. Those roast jokes. That wasn't a very good roast joke for the Star Wars franchise. That was
just
some
hate
bad acting.
So bad. Oh.
I don't think they deserve a joke. It was just that bad.
The whole movie's a joke.
I mean, have you seen Mark Hamill? This is still Dean Martin. I'm not out of. I'm kind of out of character.
That Mark Hamill wears a lot of eyeliner. I'm Dean Martin.
Have you seen Mark Hamill in any other movie? It was
Guyver.
awful. He's a terrible actor. A nice guy.
I mean,
Dude,
he's
not
Sushi Girl. He's really good in Sushi Girl, but in Sushi Girl, he's basically doing the Joker in real life. So,
Yeah.
I mean, take what you will on that, but
he is a phenomenal voice actor.
Mhm.
He is
Yeah.
the best Joker.
I mean, I want to defend him. He is the best Joker, and Kevin Conroy is my Batman. But I mean, when you look at Mark Hamill, I mean, he's got 3 voices. He's got his regular voice, he's got the Joker voice, and then that's it.
Mhm.
That's all that he needs. The Joker voice
the
has
voice for
made
real.
him so much money.
All right, enough about Star Wars. Ask me what my favorite movie is. It's me, Dean Martin.
What's your favorite movie, Dean?
Well, other than the ones I was in, it's Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman and a young George Kennedy.
Yeah, young George Kennedy. I got it. Yeah. Sweaty guys without their shirts on in the heat. Cool Hand Luke. More like Hot Hand Luke. Am I Well, put those cool hands to work, Luke.
And my second favorite movie is Apocalypse Now, so that's a little different. But I always love the Apocalypse Now. That I saw that right after Star Wars, and it was better, frankly, much.
If
me guess.
Dean Martin could perform with anyone, who would he perform with, alive or dead?
So Dean's gone. I can't do the anymore. Before we go any further, I want to do a rosacea check. I'm starting to use tea tree oil on my rosacea, and I have been drinking, and I will say that I am less red than I normally am. So, folks, if you're suffering,
Red too.
I'm sorry.
So when I drink rosé, it makes me red too.
Yeah, well, I just have terrible rosacea, and the tea tree oil is helping. So, I got off topic.
Drink.
Oh,
No, in fairness, that is not your fault. I'm very distracted, Scott.
yeah, you're coming back. You're going to be on this show again.
He's
So-
like, I'm just gonna give you the show.
So let's talk about.
Heard from carrying Scott's show tonight? Oh. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about the bands of our youth versus what we listen to now. So speaking of Apocalypse Now, the big first scene with Martin Sheen, and they do, I think, all of the end by the Doors. So I was like a huge Doors fan when I was a kid. I had a Jim Morrison poster and I had a Debbie Harry poster. So it was the Doors and Blondie and the Who and stuff like that. And I cannot listen to a Doors song all the way through now because it just sounds bad. Do you guys experience that with any of the stuff that you used to love? This is Scott Curtis.
I used to listen to a lot of metal when I was a teenager, like metal music, but now I can't really do
What?
it. Like
Explain
heavy
it.
metal music.
Explain
Like-
it.
Metal
You know, like
music.
I don't know.
Huh.
You have like emo bands, like
Heavy
do you have
metal.
like emo bands? Yeah, like heavy
Emo.
metal.
Okay,
but-
like
yeah,
like the Smiths, the original emo.
yeah, kind of.
And yet
Bands like-
Morrissey's a Trump supporter.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
Mhm.
God. How he's a vegan. How is any vegan also a Trump supporter? Like how can get you kicked out of the Proud Boys? Like, is that not? That's part of their bylaws. Like, misogynistic to women, hate Muslims, gotta eat meat 24/7. Like, I'm sure. And then fourth rule is talk about Proud Boys all the time. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know why Proud Boys also have a Brooklyn accent, but Proud Boys, we're here in the mid West, and we all talk like this in Oklahoma. We're white.
So okay, so you're not in the emo anymore. Dan,
No.
talk to me about music.
Oh, what about music? What do you want to know about music? I listen
Okay.
to everything.
Okay,
Okay.
bands that you loved when you were 17. Do you
Oh,
still
man.
love them?
Some, yes. Like I've always been a fan of Real Big Fish.
Okay.
That's like
Really?
20 some years. So
Yeah.
I'm still fan of a lot of ska music. The kind of music, and I don't know if I want to admit this in a streaming public forum, but I went through a cowboy phase when I was a teenager, where, wore a cowboy hat and the boots and was really into modern country music. And not so much anymore. No, I'm not a fan of country music now.
See, that's what I'm
except
looking for is phases.
I like old country music now.
Yeah.
So like Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, like classic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the stuff that like came out in the 90s, from the 90s on, not a fan. Really.
Yeah. What about you, Micah? You're 12, so I can't expect you to have been that far away. But
I'm actually turning 13 in like 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday.
But yeah, as a teenager, I actually had a phase where, believe it or not, I wanted to be a boy. So I would dress like a boy, wear like baggy jeans, listen to rap. And my first concert was a German rapper when I was, I think, 13, 14. So, and now I totally cannot listen to it anymore. It's just,
Did German rap use all the minor keys like United States rap? Like, dun, 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 dun.
Not really.
Yeah, because they seem to be bolder and they would use major keys. So,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Now that I like look back at like some of the lyrics, and I mean, it's just like I can't believe it. I mean, it wasn't all German rap. Like I listened to like some 50 Cents and stuff like that. Like I had all the posters everywhere.
I like how you said 50 cents. You made it plural. I like
Yeah,
that.
it was. I had 2 posters, so it's plural. I had 50 posters. It was more than one.
Oh, you foreigner. That's great.
She doesn't know American money. My favorite rapper is 5 Deutschmark. by 5 Deutschmarks.
We don't even have mark anymore.
It's all euro, man, except for Britain. And
yeah, they just gotta be weird. But yeah, if I listen to like 50 Cent now, I'm like, okay, it's just not what it used to be anymore. I'm just
yeah. I can dig that. What about you, Dennis?
I mean, I still listen. I listen. I mean, I've always been an alternative rock, punk rock guy. I still listen to it. I still listen to Real Big Fish. In fact, I was listening to Real Big Fish today. So high five, Dan, on being a rude boy. Hello, rude boys unite! But I've also recently I've been working really hard to try and get into and not as in like force myself to like, but to explore the world of like Americana, alt country, bluegrass, honky tonk, and stuff like that. And I'm still. I don't care for pop country. I really I love Nathaniel Ratcliffe. Nathaniel Ratcliffe, the Night Sweats.
Mm-hmm.
I've been digging this Canadian bluegrass band called the Dead South. Been pretty cool. Drive-by truckers are awesome.
Yeah.
But what is it with the song Heathens? The opening line is, "There's something about that wrinkle in your forehead that says a fit's about to be thrown." And I'm like, oh, that is just beautiful lyric.
Yeah,
that's just an amazing picture that is painted. And trying to follow that, like Sarah Watkins, who's a bluegrass violinist. She was in Nickel Creek. I love her solo records and stuff like that. So I'm listening to less of that and listening to more like Todd Snyder.
Yeah,
and some more.
I'm actually doing a lot of the same as you. Yeah, because I was metal I was like classic, like the Who and the Doors first, and I was metal, then I was punk, and then I was alt, and then I didn't listen to much music at all for a while when I was raising kids, and then I came out of it in Americana. So I'll send you some stuff that you may not know of, and because
the hard part at this age is like it's so time consuming to find a new band and then
Yeah.
get familiar with their catalog. It's just
Yeah.
so much.
So I've been collecting records, and when I say collecting, I mean I've been buying them to listen to them. Like I don't like super collect, but I've been making it a point to buy bands that I don't know, and just to experience new music. And like one band, and then I've heard some of their stuff prior, but like Alabama Shakes, I've really got into because of buying vinyl. Swamp Dog is another blues guy that was really good.
So I wasn't reacting to what you said. I just remembered it's Halloween. Why am I not listening to Psychobilly all month? Like that is Halloween music. Like all my playlists are now Spotify playlists are being changed over to Psychobilly.
Yeah.
Because why not listen to Hillbilly Moon Explosion or the Cramps or
Reverend Horton Heat.
Oh,
You gotta
hell
put some
yeah.
of that in there.
Reverend?
I just-
to this day, they're awesome. They're doing the Reverend. If the Reverend Horton Heat can do virtual comedy, not comedy, do virtual music shows, so can us comedians.
Yeah.
I just bought a rockabilly album, a compilation album of rockabilly from like the 50s,
Nice.
it's really good. It was a really good album. Got quite a few different.
A lot of that rockabilly is what we call like Bakersfield country now and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
and so pure and driven, music theory driven. A lot of that in bluegrass are so driven by music theory and just incorporating all these things. That's why I've really been trying hard to get into it, just because this is craftsmanship.
I'm not very nostalgic, but Uncle Tupelo was. I mean, they were like the forefront of alt country and Americana, and I do go back and listen. I'll listen to all of Anodyne just all the way through when I'm mowing the yard because they were the best. That's all I got to
I
say.
just find it hard to when I put music on that I don't know as just background music. I find that I just don't pay attention to it. Like as I pay attention to songs I know, and that's what's so hard is I can't learn to become fans of their art form because it's not penetrating my brain.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to, just one song has to click with you. Either that or you have to see them live, and then you want to explore more. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time I worked for 2 country music stations, and not to be a creep, but the women that go to country music stations, you should be a fan of country music. Like it is a lot of beautiful women love country music. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Another thing that helps with discovering music is, using like Pandora and Spotify and doing shuffles where, where they'll play similar music. That's how I've discovered a lot of different music. Because I do, like, my playlist will go from it'll go from a hip hop artist to a folk singer, and you never know what you're going to get on any of my playlists or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's really helped discover new bands.
I found Gary Clark Jr. that way, and it was just, I mean, he'd been out for a while, but I didn't know about him, and he's fantastic.
I mean, they found out about the Dead South is YouTube just threw their music video in my autoplay, and I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Sorry, Mike.
What I noticed recently is even like on Instagram, like I guess the algorithm picks up on your interest eventually. So it's just in the sponsored ads, it just keeps adding like more like new artists or bands. And then I actually found a lot of like even local bands that make great music through like just the sponsored ads on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Stories, and they're like, okay, they have like the short clips of like the new song or whatever, and then I just go on their profile and just like, okay, I like go on Spotify, look them up, listen to some of their stuff, and actually found great bands that way, where they just pop up in the ads.
That's because they're spying on us.
I know.
Okay, honest.
I can't wait to see all those bluegrass band commercials on Micah's Instagram.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, I know.
So I'm down here.
Even I get on it, they would pop up. they listen.
They do honky tonk TikToks now.
I know. They're gonna pop up now.
It's all pornography. I can't even watch it. But anyway, one time my rosacea is a hot topic for me when I'm live, because why not talk about something that's embarrassing? And I was talking about it here on this show one night, And I walked upstairs, and my wife said, "Look at my Instagram," and there's an ad for rosacea stuff on there. And she doesn't have it. She wasn't researching it.
You've just been whispering it into her phone's microphone. Just
it picked it up from all the way down here. It's crazy.
That's how you really mess with somebody. You know, used to be like you jump in somebody's car and like move stuff around. Now you just whisper into their phone, so the algorithms get all messed up.
Yeah. Motorhead.
Open their phone and suddenly it's just some random advertising. They're like, why am I seeing this?
All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun, but I'm tired, and I started out that way. So, man, it's really nice seeing you guys, and you're all invited back anytime you want to come back, especially since I've got a group of like 96 people, and only a few people actually say, "Hey, I want to be on the show." Maybe they don't want to talk about my rosacea. Maybe Dean Martin intimidates them. I don't know. But whatever. Drink, because it's getting that time. But thanks for being on the show. Dan, the Art of Bombing podcast is a fantastic podcast.
Thank you.
One of the first ones I found when I was researching podcasts to do my podcast. And like I said, it's one of them I actually listen to. I don't just say, "Hey, it's a great podcast," because I'm stealing your guess. You know, I'm actually listening to it. So it's a really great podcast. Chris, the stuff that you're doing, don't let us scare you away from doing live comedy. Keep doing the stuff because the writing is there. And you're going to do great. Micah, make sure you put the video of your performance up so I can take a look at it.
I'm going to do it tonight. I haven't had a chance.
I want to see that. Denis, you're just a son of a bitch, and I like you. I wish you were.
Sound like my dad.
I wish you were my neighbor instead of all the racist white trash I have around me right now. So,
you can put the boss in, and I'll be your neighbor as addition to racist white trash. As
okay.
well.
you
can have it all.
You can have it all in Boston. Racism and liberals in Boston.
Boston strong, man.
I hope we don't get kicked off Facebook for that uncopyrighted song that I just
Yeah,
did.
no doubt. They're very strict about it now. Yeah, they're shutting down feeds if you play like 30 seconds now. So
yeah, I was playing while you were doing your Dean Martin bit. I was playing "Ain't That a Kick in the Head" underneath, and then like halfway through it, I was like, "Oh shit, we're gonna get kicked off! Stop doing it!"
That's all it takes. All right. Well, thanks, guys. This has been a lot of fun. This will be available. I recommend watching it on YouTube because it looks better. But it'll be available on YouTube in about 24 hours, and I'll share it around so you guys and tag you guys so you guys can all show how not into it I was tonight and how little I tried. And thank you all for picking up the slack.
Everyone can see how stoic Chris Wright is.
Yeah.
There's definitely plenty of times where I'm like, did Chris just replace himself with like a gift that's just moving?
He's got a bad back.
Dominated the conversation and left you
He's
out.
got back
problems.
problems.
Girlfriend as well, but it doesn't work.
I could be Chris in America.
Dad?
We have the American and the UK import.
Coming to America, the Chris Wright edition. All right. Well, thanks, guys. This has been fun.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.